G'day! This is a brief video demonstrating the function and operation of the John Deere JS26 MowMentum Drive Assist Push Mower. I've made this video because there's been some discussion on the forums about these mowers, and there are some people that have questions about how the various mowers' functions work and how the self-drive system on the mower works, and I thought it would be easier to demonstrate this. I'll start with a couple of things that are probably a bit more mundane, but are nonetheless very relevant to the safe use and operation of this mower. The first thing that I'd like to point out is that this mower incorporates Briggs & Stratton's Ready Start carburetor. This carburetor does not feature a primer bulb. The idea being that it prevents accidental over-priming and flooding of the engine. This carburetor is supposed to provide easy, trouble-free starting without much maintenance from the user. As my mower is still very young, I can't really comment on whether or not this works in the long term, but I can make a couple of observations about things that I find encouraging. Inside this door is a pleated filter element, more like what you would find in a passenger car. It's disposable and easy to replace. It's a big departure from the foam filter secured by the grub fastener screw on some of the older and cruder Briggs & Stratton engines. Also of interest is this mower's clean air emissions. This mower actually meets California's very stringent air quality standards, owing to the mower being a very lean burning and clean burning machine. You can see on the side here we actually have a hatch which you can open to reveal the side discharge port. There's actually a piece of moulded plastic which fits inside this port and becomes the chute. I haven't actually used the side discharge yet, as my lawn is brand new and has only been established since November. The mower features what is now a fairly conventional cloth or shade cloth type catcher, which is very good because you get a lot of airflow through it and it really does help pick up the debris. As my grass is Santa Ana couch and is very fine, there is the potential for the mower to have difficulty picking up the volume of clippings that's generated during cutting, but this mower does very well. The fuel cap in the mower is actually a standard cap with an insert that allows you to install the fuel conditioning cartridge. This is something of a new idea, at least as far as lawnmowers are concerned, whereby a small amount of a chemical which removes moisture from fuel is slowly dispensed into the fuel tank. The cartridge is optional in Australia and is standard on US versions of this mower. I optioned the cartridge with my mower. They don't actually come standard with it. Some respondents may feel this is a waste of time, but the idea behind it is to prevent levels of moisture building up in the fuel which produce gumming, as this would damage the Ready Start carby. This is apparently a large cause of mowers being difficult to start or fouling in operation. Exhaust on the mower is at this side. As you can see, there's not a lot of soot. The mower actually does burn fairly cleanly. Interestingly, this mower is also able to be used with synthetic oil, and in fact Briggs & Stratton recommend it in environments where there's a wide range of temperature conditions the mower is expected to operate within. Height adjustment on this mower is achieved at both front and the back. As this mower is the entry-level model, the height adjustment must be completed on 3 locations. This wheel, and once at the back on this side with this lever. The other mowers do not require 3 points of adjustment and only have a single point. However, this is the only mower in the John Deere range which is front-wheel drive. There's been some to and fro in the forums about the validity of front-wheel drive, some saying that it isn't as good as rear. I actually feel the inverse. Because the operator stands at the rear of the mower and is pushing forward, the tendency is for the front wheels to always have more contact with the ground than the rear. Some have cited the weight that accumulates in the catcher as a bit of a counterbalance to this point of view, but in operation I actually find the front drive very good, and it does enable me to lift the front of the mower slightly and pivot on the rear wheels without drive being engaged at all, which I find useful. As you can see, the area I mow doesn't have a lot of complicated trees or shapes for me to mow around, so it may be that I find it easier for this reason. There's also been some debate in the forums about the validity of the dead man's handle switch. Almost all mowers these days are shipped with these. I actually support the idea. It is there for safety. The mower cannot be started, nor will it continue to operate unless this handle is closed. It's easy for me to hold it closed and no issue at all. It isn't tiring, but if I release it, the mower will stop. And in fact, the mower will refuse to start at all unless the handle is compressed. This is a good idea. It does, however, mean that the mower will stop, necessitating restart on being emptied of waste or refilled with fuel. I'll demonstrate though how easy the mower is to start. This might be a bit tricky holding the iPhone. One pull. Starts in 2 pulls. I don't think that's a particularly poor start. Here's a fairly noisy motor. 190 cc's, I suppose you expect that. I'd like to demonstrate how self-drive works now, as this is by far and away the feature that people have requested the most information about. I'm ready to mow my first pass, and I want to use the self-drive feature. That's where this handle I'm holding comes into play. If I push it down, the handle's just an ordinary handle, but if I lift it up, I engage MowMentum. Notice the mower doesn't want to run away. It will only fully engage MowMentum when I start walking, and it will match the speed at which I push the mower. If I let go of the handle and then let go of the safety switch, the motor stops instantly. Some people have suggested that this is an annoying feature, and it may be, but it would be really patently foolish to circumvent it. It's there to provide safety, and I think it's actually a good thing. And in time, I think all mowers will be required to come with a handle like this. In general, the mower is easy to operate. It's a bit heavy, it's got a big donk on it and a steel deck with a 22-inch cut. But overall, it actually manoeuvres pretty well. You wouldn't really use the MowMentum drive system to go around obstacles. You would tend to push the handle flat and just pivot the mower and push it back and forwards as if it was an ordinary drive assist, or as if it was without drive assist. But to be honest, it's easy to work with, and I haven't had any difficulties with the mower. There is a maintenance kit available for it, which includes a spark plug, a new pleated filter, a bottle of oil, and a nifty piece of plastic tube, which probably is worth all of 10 cents, that actually goes in the oil filler on this side and allows you to turn the mower upside down and have the oil neatly drain into a pan or catchment of some sort. It does seem to accumulate a bit of grass around the base of the engine. I've just been dusting it off with the air compressor. I probably do need to get a bit of a wet rag on it. But overall, the mower's really easy to use. It does have a fairly conservative minimum cutting height. Some users will probably dislike it. My grass is a couch grass. You would generally mow grass like this very low. I've decided not to, as it's more water efficient. To cut the grass slightly taller. The minimum cutting height on here really prevents the user accidentally scalping the lawn. This lawn was sowed in November from rolls of sod which were laid. It is still a little bit brown, and in fact there's some thatching, but I won't really be able to do anything with that for about the next 12 months until the root system has really established. I just didn't want this to confuse people into thinking that it was the mower that was the cause of difficulties. Overall, I would highly recommend this mower. It works really well, and I think that for $500, considering it does mulching and catching, side discharge, with a good dead man's handle safety system and good self-drive implementation that's easy to service, it's worth it.